Alright guys, previous shorts guys, I've made my opinion video about inflation being lower than interest rate. I think if interest rate is lower than inflation, then your money keeps on losing value, which means you would want to lower that inflation lower than the interest rate so that our money keeps on gaining value. There's two sides of the discipline, two sides of targets of the economy. You want deflationary economy, for example, the value of money keeps on rising up, and inflationary economy where the value of money goes down over time, but the amount of money you got would increase. So quantity or quality. Now the problem with deflation is people tend to not spend, therefore people are not making connection with each other and it will become not productive. The problem with increasing the quantity, sometimes if you overdo it, people would find it harder and harder and harder to achieve the stuff that they're supposed to achieve, which something that is rampant right now. And what do you say? It is not that I want people to have high interest rate as well. That is also not healthy, because if you have a very high interest rate and your money gets accumulated, that means you're gonna have a lot of money, and one day you're gonna disrupt the economy. You're a threat to the economy by spending a lot of those money all at once, disturbing the equilibrium trade within the economy. If the equilibrium is adjusted where people spend a lot of money one by one, it's okay. Like, you spend a lot of your money today, tomorrow somebody else do that, next day other people do that, not all at once, then the equilibrium would be kind of like that as well. But if not, right, people are not spending and they're all hoarding up all of this money, and something happened, for example like a pandemic, for example, they will spend all of their money all at once. That is massive inflation. And it is like, interest rate is not actually a tool to absorb inflation. Interest rate is actually a tool to increase inflation, because you get more money in the economy. It's just not being spent. The true absorption of money is in the goods and services. If you print money, right, you want to enhance this circuit of productivity. You print money, the circuit absorb it. So as soon as you print money, right, inflation go up. But because it's being absorbed by goods and services and there are new innovation and stuff, the value of money comes back down, and maybe even lower and lower and lower and lower. Okay, one more thing that I also wanted to say, guys, about deflation. It maybe has virtue in it. Like, if your money keeps on going up and going up and going up, which means the prices of good keeps on going down and going down, going down. It seems like that is very bad for people who are productive, which means they will not get money. They will be penalized for their productivity. But one thing that I didn't notice, right, is that if prices keeps on going down, that means what you buy as a productive person, say your supplies and stuff, would also keeps on going down. So you don't really have to print money. It's another means of printing money, which is increasing its value through deflation. So all you gotta do now is just break apart. Let's say, for example, you have $100. To tomorrow you just exchange the money to 50 and 50, and that would be even stronger. So it's just a means of printing money. Like, it's just a difference between giving you interest rates and giving you deflations. It's not exactly different, but there is some kind of psychological fit in attached to it, which makes things more complicated. And now we have more which is something that is nice also, that everyone is on the same page, that we are more into the quantity stuff. But again, we gotta address the problem where I know I think it's very bad. It's very bad still, because we are not considering some of the solutions, right? And I'm trying my best. I'm not saying that I have the solution, but the solution that I have in me, I want to share with you guys. Okay, so I think for where we are right now, okay, you want to increase productivity, right? And also because of the increase of value of money, you would also want people to not keep their money alone. And you can probably mitigate it by being stingy, right? If you're a new person in my equilibrium, you gotta pay more. So like some kind of ohm, for example. But maybe you don't really need to do that. Maybe you need to do that for something that is extreme, right? You have gas and suddenly people want to buy all the gas that you have. That means you cannot sell gas to the people that usually buy from you. You you increase that price for this new guy so that you can buy more for the next turn. But maybe because a diversified economy, um, a lot of countries are not they are not diversified in terms of energy, but for other things they are diversified, so you don't really have to need to use this stingy method. And it's also not really going to solve all of the problem, right? I think golden sticker, for example, what I mean by that is that you acknowledge people who give thanks to you, people who have transacted with you, and people that, especially for artists, right, or IT or programs that could be copied and copied and copied all over again. It is actually pretty hard for people to prevent the customer from copying without paying. So it is an extra virtue. I think all transactions are virtuous, but it is especially virtuous for people to actually pay for artists and for IT people, for like for software, for games, for movies, things that can be easily copied. I think we should create a system where people, if people are paying, they would be granted some kind of privilege. Like for example, if even if it's not privilege, some kind of mark, some kind of mark that this guy is the kind of guy who would prioritize fairness and gratitude. And therefore this guy could, could be an easier or a less risky part of your community. We've talked about the ohm of the circuit. We've talked about how people being stingy has some kind of purpose. And when people see this, that this person is actually the kind of person who is like that, maybe, especially when you see your favorite artist is also his favorite artist, you can kind of have immediately you have things in common, and it's easier for him to become part of your circuit. Or maybe if it's just a one-time thing, it doesn't really have to be that expensive or that disruptive as a label on that person. And there's a lot of advantages as well. I don't I'm not going to talk about this in this video. I know there are a lot of opinions that I say, and a lot of introspection also that I have to do probably over time. So thank you very much for watching. This is not a professional advice. This is just an opinion of an amateur. Goodbye, guys.